Welcome everyone to another video of Vinyl Addict. This is Chili, popular band, underrated album. I'm going with Van Halen's Fair Warning 1981. Now before I get into this, please don't forget to hit the like button, comment on this video, share this video, and if you still haven't, please subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you will receive updates. Okay, so with that out of the way, this album for me, in this series of just underrated albums, popular bands. The underrated album, they always seem to be my favorite out of their band's catalog. It's the pivotal albums. Like, where are they going? What are they doing? They're kind of going off in different directions, and it's really interesting to hear. And Van Halen, up to this point, this is their fourth album. This would be considered to me their experimental album, if there is an experimental Van Halen album, because up to this point the first three albums, they kind of just that trilogy is pretty much one, two, and Women and Children first. They kind of keep the same kind of vibe going with the rocking songs. Of course, you'll have your David Lee Roth kind of bluesy kind of songs like Ice Cream Man or Take Your Whiskey Home. You'll have the Eddie Van Halen, Eruption, Spanish Fly, his unaccompanied solos, which are really cool. And you get to this one and none of those things are there. It's just a whole different thing. And just look at the album cover as well. They're not on the front or the back, like if you see the Van Halen catalog of David Lee Roth. Nothing, right? There's just this obscure painting. You do have their symbol, but it's on the inner sleeve here, and from lyrics from Mean Street. And then you have this picture of them. This is an original pressing of the 1981 album. And going through the song list here, Mean Street, like I mentioned, great riff, great album opener. And so this is Love. Okay, well, this is not the track list actually, because it is different in the album. So at least we get to look at it too, the label. Mean Street, Dirty Movies, of course, is the second song. And that one, yeah, that is the first one where it goes through all these different directions, and you hear this funky bass line, and that's one thing, you hear a lot of bass on this album from Michael Anthony on that track, and Push Comes to Shove. And that song is similar to something David Lee Roth would be doing in his solo album, Eat 'Em and Smile. It kind of has that same kind of Ladies Night in Buffalo kind of vibe going. Unchained is on here, which is one of his greatest riffs he ever came up with, and he's tuned down to D on this one. Sinner Swing, I think that's probably the closest you'll get to the typical Van Halen song from like the first three albums. It has that kind of feel, but everything else is, Hear About It Later, great intro. And there's songs on here that are just like 2 minutes and under, like Sunday Afternoon in the Park. Now that's an instrumental piece, and that's, instead of Eddie doing the guitar playing track, he's doing a keyboard thing, and that's all it is. And it segues into One Foot Out the Door, which is a 1 minute and 56 second kind of rocking song, which is, I don't know, their attempt at punk or something, but explosive solo. The one thing about it, though, being an album closer, it's just like it faded out too soon when he was like jamming, And Sunday Afternoon in the Park, another thing about that piece, though, is like when he started really kind of experimenting with the keyboard thing, which Ted Templeman and David Lee Roth were totally against, and so it's a track that they kind of went back to, though, on the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge era on the tour, because it'll be played on the Michael Anthony bass solo segment of the show, you know. So they would kind of hark back to this album, and I think they do have a real kind of a different kind of a affection towards this album. You know, I mean, even when the Gary Sharon period came on, I mean, he brought back Mean Street and stuff like that. You know, playing that riff, because that riff is great. You know, and I think from the whole catalog, this is the one that kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. Now, I mentioned earlier in videos that, yes, Sammy Hagar is my favorite Van Halen singer. I just felt like Eddie pretty much did all kinds of different things with Sammy. More so because I believe his vocal range is so off the chart that, you know, he could go in so many directions, and, you know, they were willing to try different things without any kind of dictatorship of like, no, you can't do that. And with Sammy, he was open. I mean, you couldn't have a song like Right Now with David Lee Roth, and that song was written when David Lee Roth was in the band, but, you know, he kind of saved it until Sammy got in there, because I don't know if I couldn't picture David Lee Roth singing to that music anyway, in that intro and everything. And so, yes, I felt like musically Van Halen was going and doing different things with Sammy more. This was just I feel that their album where they were kind of like on the crossroads, and the band, like, especially with the funky elements to it, it opens up Eddie in a different way, and he's going to approach those songs and that music differently on his guitar. And so you come out with some amazing kind of things that, you know, you wouldn't typically hear Eddie Van Halen playing. So that's why it kind of struck a chord with me, no pun intended, but, you know, it's just it was really cool to hear Eddie play to music in that sense, you know, other than just the straightforward rock things that we were hearing up into from the first album to Women and Children First. So that is my popular band underrated album choice, Van Halen, Fair Warning. What are your thoughts on this album? I mean, it was given 2.5 stars by Rolling Stone magazine. It didn't really chart really high. It kind of sold slowly. No promotional videos really, just some live material that they filmed at Oakland Coliseum, and they would kind of, they had Unchained and So This Is Love. They play that on MTV, I remember. But nothing else, you know, and just the way everything about it is just like it's a standalone album. So, yes, leave me a comment below. Did you think this album sucked, or did you think it was their best? You know, I always come across Van Halen fans, and they always kind of say that this is one of their personal favorites. So, if you viewed the video up to this point, please hit the like button. And with that, I'll shut up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.